What'd you say about Don Nelson, David?
Vibes alone. Kamala Harris, Don Nelson.
Don Nelson. Nelly, baby.
Welcome back into the Armchair Politics Podcast. My name is David Coe. With me is my guys, Alex Smith and Dr. Christopher Carter. Real quick, is it as obvious to y'all as it is to me that Victor Wembanyama is the most talented human being to ever touch a basketball?
Yes. I mean, like, the only comp you can think of is, like, Wilt Chamberlain, but again, it's, like, the same kind of vibe, right, where you have someone that's just, like, you could tell, like, they're, like, on a different planet than the rest of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're like, okay,
people don't, they don't say it because it's so obvious. He's built different. Like, he's that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, he's incredibly, like, this is the thing. You can be Mo Bamba, right? People don't remember that name. Google it. He was a top 10 draft pick, I think, in a draft that had Luka Doncic and Trae Young. And, you know, you can be a big man and have some skill and not last in the league. Wemby is a big man with a ton of skill. This guy's got so much in his bag, but this is the other thing, is his mentality. So this guy is from the old school. I feel like I'm on The Sopranos now. I'm from the old school, man. I did 10 years in the can. I didn't say anything. But I mean, you know, he is from the old school. He has that mentality. He cares very, very deeply. And most importantly, he holds a grudge. Last episode, David was like, he is AOC to Chet's Marjorie Taylor Greene. Just the vitriol between the two. So I think Wemby is built different, and he's got the mentality of a different era, and it makes sense.
I love that your Sopranos impression is like, to me it reads like Prison Mike from The Office.
I didn't see The Office.
Oh my gosh, Prison Mike was great.
I'm like, the name Prison Mike. I'm like, that sounds like I know who that character was, so I can make a good guess. The thing about Wemby, I think, is like, if you watch, and this is like, if you watch international, especially if you watch international soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, like, if you get these black Frenchmen, right, who families immigrated from North Africa, right, these are people who came up through colonization. They kids, they know, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's like, so it's like them Eastern Europeans, or I'm like, they white, but they kind of not white. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're like, you white,
They lived
like,
through a civil war.
Exactly. I'm like, you didn't live, you saw some life. Like, so Wemby is just like, no, he just got that, like, you know, just it, like you said, he's got that thing, that vibe, that energy. He just knows, like, it could, and so it's that kind of visceral anger that animates your life. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's still playing for his ancestors in jug, man. He's just like, I don't know. No,
he's playing for half of his ancestors. Just
there you go. There we go.
For half of them.
You know, colonialism.
So, I'm not sure if you know this, Carter, but our podcast has a Twitter page now. And I tweet, I saw that video of Victor and Pop, like, sitting, like, you know, on the practice court talking, and I commented on the video, alt text, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt talks with current mayor Zohran Mamdani.
Oh, that's very good.
Dang.
That's very, very good. I like that.
If you listen to this, go follow us on Twitter, at Armchair Pod.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
Quick Armchair Pal.
Since I just mentioned it, I'm wearing my Tottenham Hotspur jersey because we avoided relegation. Barely last day. Like, look, no, we're like the sixth richest team in the world. Like, literally in the world. Like, because the Premier League football teams make the most money in the world. So we got literally the sixth most revenue, quote unquote, in the world, and we almost got kicked out of the Premier League because of just incompetence. We are like, it's insane. But the thing that was wild is so many of our games are on a Sunday, and so, like, this year has been so stressful. I have had to stop watching it on Sunday mornings because it's messing up my energy and my mentality if I gotta go to work and inspire people. I'm just in such a bad mood. I had to stop. So I watched the first half before we left, and we were winning. And I was like, I'm not gonna watch anything in a second because if something happens, I'll be so mad. So Gabby, like, texted me, like, after they won, after we secured our position in the league, she texted me. She's like, they stayed up, they won. So it was just funny because
okay, that's why you had some pep in your step. Okay,
yeah, man, I was bouncing. But anyway, it was crazy. So we made it. Hopefully, hopefully next year we can actually do something rather than almost get kicked out of the league.
Relegated again.
For the folks that aren't Premier League fans like myself, would you say that like Tottenham they're like the Mets of the Premier League? They've got too much money to be this bad.
I would say yeah and yes, especially I think the Mets is a really good comp actually because like the Mets, they've had moments where they've been great. Like they have moments where we won we just won a trophy 2 years ago. Like and so
Yeah.
like they and have some of the best players that have played in England. Like that but in English history.
You've
So
got Harry
yeah.
Kane, right?
Yeah, but no, man, he plays in Germany now. Come on,
Certainly,
it's
Oh,
been it's been
yeah.
years ago. It's been years ago. So
I don't
it's
follow.
okay. It's okay.
I
It's
just
okay.
I just wanted to bust out my accent.
Yeah, that was yeah, but like it was I would say the Mets is definitely good or I mean, I was gonna say the Cowboys, but like it's not nearly that the interesting thing there isn't the only challenge with that comp is like the Spurs Tottenham is a very social justice oriented club. And so it gets a really unique. That's partly why I end up liking them because of their pro LGBTQ stances, especially. Like they really are on the forefront, cutting edge, a lot of that, and like they have a lot of black staff members and whatnot. So they've done like good stuff with that. Now, if they could just actually like pick a team,
Now
I
now
mean,
they can be good at on the pitch.
exactly.
On the
I'd be like,
field.
man, there we go. Look at you calling the pitch. Look at you knowing stuff. Look at you. Look at you knowing stuff. All right,
Yeah.
before we wrap, I at least gotta say something real quick before we move on to politics about the New York Knicks because
Knickerbockers.
Go New York,
I'm
go New
like
York.
it was.
I love it.
I think it was just I was like, wow, man. I don't know what happened. It's like I was, keeping up with the league or like, like during the regular season, and then the playoffs come. I start watching a little bit more. Then I'm saying I feel like the Knicks just like flipped a switch. I was like, man, these dudes like Cat actually playing like he like got some backbone. I was like, man, like I'm like, what happened to you? Like, yeah, it was I don't know. I just didn't know what y'all thoughts
I
were
feel
about.
like
'Cause to me, it's
I
a
feel
switch.
like somebody's been like in Cat's ear before every game, just talking
Mm.
shit to him because Cat feels different this season. And it's not even like he's upset because like he's always been volatile with his emotions.
Yeah.
But this season he's just like, nah, we got to play harder defense. And like there's just like a steeliness to Cat that I've never seen before, and that man is so physically talented that if he can put that, he looks like he's putting that mentality together. The Knicks can be special, but let's be honest, the Cavaliers were just bad on defense.
Well,
Oh no.
analytically, as King Atkinson would say, they should be in the finals.
They won. I mean,
King Atkinson.
analytically, it was a sweep. Actually, if you look at the data, they
Analytically,
swept.
it was a sweep.
It's like a Democrats. Like technically,
Technically.
we actually won the election. Like
Oh,
technically,
Jesus.
on the analytical
Right.
side.
But yeah, no, I think New York has a very like if you watch them play, I'm not like Bill Simmons who's like the perennial old man screaming at the kids on his lawn right now. But I- he said something really interesting. He was like, these guys aren't all like these are real good chemistry guys right now. Like they're playing with a lot of chemistry. They like playing for each other, like playing with each other. By the way, shout out to Mike Brown. See, Mike Brown has been to the finals quite a bit of times as a coach for Cleveland, as an assistant coach for Golden State a million times. Like Mike Brown it's interesting that he's been to these places and he knows what it takes. And I think everything broke down great. The Celtics collapsed. 76ers basically gave all they had in the first round. Giannis and his team they weren't even there. Like this set up perfectly for New York to get to the finals. And guess what? OKC's a little hurt. They're a little banged up. So
Yeah.
this is the
OKC.
year.
I mean,
This
to
is
me, like I think to y'all's point, I think OKC is floppers, and I think that's part of the reason why Victor it gets even more angry
Hates.
because they just like he can't stand people who be flopping. That's just not his energy, which is interesting.
Mm.
But also, I think one thing I want to say real quick about the Knicks, I've grown in respect for Jalen Brunson because Jalen Brunson doesn't really play defense, but you see him as a leader,
Mhm.
and to me, it's like that's the distinction. Like he's gonna play enough defense to not at least be seen as somewhat competent, but his leadership skills are what actually is pulled his team up. And for me, this is the opposite I think, it's the opposite of what you see in Cleveland. And I feel bad because we had what's oh
Jordan.
man,
Jordan.
Jordan. Jordan, if you're listening, I'm sorry, man. I know it was rough to get stuff like that. But to me, this is the problem with James Harden. Because to me, James Harden, he typifies what we're going to talk about today. Corporate Democrats, like because you
Ew.
see people. I'm telling you, this is the comp, right? You got someone who got you look at him like, oh man, this is some talent right here. There's something here I could do something with, and just shows you little flashes, right? And very marketable, like be on all kinds of stuff. You put them on billboards, have them all like, doing all
Oh, yeah.
kinds of stuff. And then when you get down to the substance, you actually got to do something. You got to win something. You got to lead people. You got to make a shot. You know what I'm saying?
A little too heavy around the waist to actually
You
move his
just
feet.
can't. You just can't because you have to have it your way. And if it's not your way exactly how you want it, you complain, you cry, you blame others, you don't take accountability, right? And then you get traded to someplace else. I'm telling you, James Harden is the comp. Like he literally is like the comp for me for the corporate Democrat all-star, which is what we're talking about today.
Listen,
What do y'all think?
I want to
That's-
thank y'all for hanging out with us and listening to the Armchair Politics podcast because that's Carter wrapped it up there.
Yep, that was great. See y'all
There it
next
is.
week.
put a bow on it.
No, I was like just thinking about it last night, and we were trying to. I was, thinking about the episode, and I'm like, this is so wild because I've never liked James Harden. And it is so similar. I'm telling you, I was like, I've never liked this cat. I've always been like, this dude is just weak. Like you just see him and he act tough. I'm like, no, man, you're just weak. You ain't serious. Like you're actually not serious about winning. And I think for me, that's the difference between someone who's actually trying to take politics seriously, take their job seriously, take their role seriously, versus just someone who's there for the money. And James Harden, I tell you what, the dude he made some bank. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't gonna be no hater in that regard. He made some bank. But
So listen, I wanna come to the defense of the beard just a little bit. James Harden is the Michael Jordan of LaMelo balls.
Oh man, jeez, you really thought on
that's
that one.
like that is not now we're like in the Matrix. You know what I'm saying? Not the Matrix. No, what's that movie? Oh damn it. What's the Yard movie, people? Where like you're a dream in a dream or whatever.
Oh, Inception.
Inception. That's what it is. Inception, man.
I was like, Carter, you got to give us some specifics. You can't just know that movie, right?
I got to move people. Y'all know the people in the dream. Man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, but that's what it is. I was like, wow, that is the Michael Jordan of LaMelo balls. I mean, I agree, man. I mean, I think that's wow.
Carter, who to you is the James Harden of corporate Democrats?
I think that's so close between two people. I think
is it Cory Booker?
No. Because I think because James Harden gives you the allure that he might win, right? Like you might be able to win. And so this is what I'm thinking is Kamala Harris, which sounds terrible. But I think it's because I do think I think there's like this allure like, oh no, I can build a team around this person. I mean, I think like obviously OKC, that's one of the mistakes they ever made, right? Trading him when they didn't really need to. They end up making it work out. But going to Houston, you try to build a team around him and you can kind of see how this could work. And you try to keep moving stuff around different parts. Similarly, I think Kamala, you can look at why, again, I really wish we had a primary last year. I think that could have either made her further differentiate herself from Biden, or she could have did what she did and she wouldn't have gotten elected. And so I think with Kamala, you see someone on paper who is electable, right? In terms of their credentials. But when it comes down to it, like just someone who fails to take accountability for the role they played in their own political demise. Someone who consistently is trying to blame others for what's happening, whether it be respect to the non-committal on Gaza, to bring out a bunch of, Republicans and the end of the candidacy, to just trying ultimately Kamala, to me, her strategy was to let Trump lose the election rather than her win it, right? And I think when I think about James Harden, I think similarly, it's that I'm going to be about focusing on me, and you're gonna have to. J- James Harden Rockets was essentially that. It's like you're gonna have to like lose the tournament, right? Because I'm not gonna win it for you, right? You're gonna have to let the other team lose it. And so for me, I would say Kamala because I think there's glimpses where I could see how some people. I think some people could see. Oh, I think this person is something we could build around. But I mean, I'm curious to y'all thoughts.
I think Kamala is actually the coach. So we're here today to build. If we haven't properly introduced what we're doing, we're here today to build our corporate Democratic all-star team. We're gonna build a starting five and some bench players. And to me, especially because Kamala Harris really does feel like a candidate emeritus at this point. She really feels like the coach of the corporate Democratic all-stars. You know, like even her like headquarters page like really kind of feels like a steering direction, not for a candidate, but for kind of the party in a way.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You know, and
I get
don't.
that.
Go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I feel like Nancy Pelosi. Now she might be the pop of this team, where it's just like
That's
she might have
disrespectful to
just
Pop.
transitioned from being on the bench as the coach to up in the suite with Tim Duncan looking down and making moves and everything.
I'm more comfortable with like Danny Ainge.
Right. Yeah, I know, right? Our brother Mormon. But yeah, no, I think it's interesting about, I guess with Kamala Harris, I almost don't know if she's like the coach, because I feel like she's not really the top fundraiser in terms of corporate donors, or corporate fundraiser for the Democrats. It's Hakeem Jefferies, but we know he's a player. He's not a coach.
Yeah.
So
he's our point guard.
I mean,
he's
running point.
He is number one. He is the Chris Paul.
Yes, calling the offense and moving dudes around. So anyway, that's shout out New Orleans Jazz, never Utah.
Never Utah.
No, but yeah, no, yeah.
I'm trying to think of a coach. Actually, I think you're right. That's such a. I mean, I think Kamala could be the closest, but Alex, I think your point about trying to figure out like if she is the actual the right fundraising arm. But let me
Vibes
define
alone,
it,
Don
maybe,
Nelson.
and
Yeah, define it for us.
What did you say about Don Nelson, David?
Vibes alone, Kamala Harris, Don Nelson.
Don Nelson. Nelly, baby.
You know, because Kamala like when she's not being serious, Kamala likes to have fun. She likes to be jokey, you know. So like it gives a little bit of the Don Nelson vibes to me. I mean that complimentary.
Honestly,
I
know.
Like Detroit,
I was like, dang. I was like, no, it's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So a corporate Democrat, as we define it, is a term used to describe a politician or political candidate who's associated with the Democratic Party and who is perceived to be more aligned with corporate interests rather than progressive or left-leaning policies. Sometimes they're referred to as moderate or centrist, and they are more likely to support policies that benefit corporations, such as deregulation and tax cuts. So I think pretty much any of these, if you're thinking outside of political parties, outside of political candidates, you can think of someone like Mark Cuban. Yeah, literally people who are just of massive wealth, right? Often find themselves there. Like, he's literally like he might be the owner of the corporate Democrat team. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, like that's the kind of mentality in terms of how they're thinking about deregulation and tax cuts and whatnot. So, yeah, no, we didn't even try to think about a coach, and so that's why I was saying is a coach.
I like Nancy Pelosi. I think that's probably the right
Nancy
move.
Pelosi is one of the greatest fundraisers in Democratic Party history in terms of corporate donations, and also just regular donations. But like, she still is steering the ship. Yes. I don't care what anybody says.
No, I like the pop. It's disrespectful, but I like the pop comp because she's not Pop's no longer the coach. Pop's not the GM, but man, his hands are everywhere in the Spurs
organization.
Pop
up there in that suite. The camera will pan up there every time the Spurs fuck up. They go up to Pop, and Pop
leading into Tim Duncan.
He's like, yeah, you see that? See, we didn't do that. So I mean. So no, I think that is, and also like, to be fair, and I think this is what's going to be very interesting for us, right? Because you're going to have these corporate kind of corporate Democratic all-stars that will have done some good things.
Yeah.
And have good things on their record. And that's kind of like Nancy Pelosi. We kind of joke, but but she's actually done some really good things as speaker and as a member of Congress. But when it comes to connections to corporate America, and corporate America does this great thing where they like Carter talked about Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban's playing both sides. So Mark Cuban is on this team one day, and then he's like, actually, he's Doc Rivers. I'm over here. I'm coaching Ubuntu. We all together and all that shit. And with the Celtics, then he's going over. He gets traded to the Clippers as a part of a trade, and he was like, yeah, I'm over here. We're gonna do whatever we, So it's like these massive billionaires are playing both sides. Like Elon Musk's SpaceX or his political arm actually gave money to the Democrats. He gave way more money to the Republicans, but he gave money to the Democrats. So these corporations, they play both sides.
Yeah, they do. They do. I'm curious. I know we said we're gonna start doing a starting five. Do we want to go by position in terms of
Well,
analytical like that,
we
or
all
do you want? How
we
do you
all
want to do it?
if we can, we all agree that Hakeem Jefferies is our number one, right? He's running
Yeah,
point.
I thought your
Yes.
comp of like uh oh man, well I can't think of his name. My brain is just not working this morning,
Chris
guys. I'm
Paul.
sorry. Chris Paul. Yeah, that is like, especially someone as like demonstrative. You know, because I was thinking about Chris
Yeah.
Paul. It's like
Yeah.
like people didn't like Chris Paul, even though you had to respect Chris Paul. You know, and like I
Yeah.
kind of had a little bit of a heart for him because he almost went to Michigan State, and we definitely would have won a second championship if he had come. So anyway, like
He
so
was
there's a
he
part
was
of me.
Chris Paul was the truth in college.
Oh yeah. No, I mean he was.
Oh yeah. Wake.
At Wake, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean to be that
But
small
also
and
like
play like that.
yeah, but that's why I love the Hakeem Jefferies comp is like you knew Chris Paul was never going to win a title. You knew it. Good point guard. You want, cantankerous, if he's your teammate, you like him, but you know you're never going to win with him.
Man, I can't. I think he just got.
I'm
I mean, he
look,
got
I'm
injured.
wearing
just
a
saying,
New Orleans Jazz
I know.
shirt.
I was like,
love me about
man,
New Orleans. I got
I'm
love
like,
for Chris
I don't
Paul.
know. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I
Chris
think
Paul never
that,
made it to the finals. He's been on
I know,
every team.
but this is where again, and now there's so many. This is such an excellent topic because there's so many analogies in terms of how it's about like party in terms of who's constructing the team, right? In my mind, because I'm like the thing that held back Chris Paul was like he was never on a team that actually was constructed, I think, to complement what he did. Whereas like again, as a Pistons fan, you get somebody like Isaiah Thomas, who's also
Oh yeah.
tiny, because you could have a certain team around a tiny guard. You know what I'm saying? And like Isaiah, the difference between Isaiah Thomas and Chris Paul, because Chris Paul can be mean, Isaiah Thomas got that dog in him. Isaiah Thomas would like stab you to win. Chris Paul, he gonna
Yeah.
do that. You know, hey, look, I love Zeke. I love Zeke. You know what I'm saying? Like I love Zeke, but like
Didn't he
I would.
choke out his own coach, or not choke out, but
Man,
like, didn't he choke? He's
I would
bleeding.
not mess with Zeke. I'm just saying, like, I'm like, no, ain't no way, man.
Oh
No,
man, you
no,
got
no,
to
no, no,
screw
no.
loose, dog.
So yeah, so I'm like, yeah, that you have to have a certain team constructed. So I think similarly, when you think about like the party, like how much is the inadequacies of these people we're going to talk about because the party enables them, right? Or their own or their own particular inadequacies. I think Hakeem Jefferies is I mean, has he always been this way with like yeah, I guess maybe that's a good question for y'all. Like, do you feel like he has always gone down this path of corporate donor? Did he come in and then just switch? Like Kirsten Cinema, who did that, right? Like she came in one way and just totally flipped and did something different.
I'm gonna be honest.
Um,
Go ahead.
okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, it's, I think he's very much liked by the people in his district. And I think, when he got there, he was under the tutelage of the old guard, the Pelosi, the Hoyers, the Clyburns of the world, which is why he made his way in his ascent
He
to
fell in line.
leadership. Right. He cut in line, and he made his way through leadership. So, I mean, I think he's always kind of been on this track. Because remember, in the House, you've got to raise money every 2 years. And which means after you're done with your election, you've got to then go and re-raise a ton of money. And
Immediately.
remember, he's from New York, Wall Street, those connections. Like, I think it's always been there as long as I have known him. David, what do you think?
Completely the same thing. I don't remember when he was first elected. When I first came to Hakeem Jefferies, he was already lined up behind Pelosi waiting for his turn to be in leadership. He's never stepped 1 foot out of line. And I love what you talk about, Carter, about like, is this the personal inadequacies, or is it the system that is being set up around them? And I think, as always, it's both.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Hakeem Jefferies is, a man of courage, at least somewhat, but not enough to overcome the system that rewards falling in line and waiting your turn. And then what I'm sure he's realizing now is that, or maybe he knew this back in the day and just doesn't care because he loves to be the center of power. I get it. That it doesn't, even once you're the guy, you're still, once you sit at the you're at the front of the line, you are the Speaker of the House or the majority leader, the leader of your party. You're still not the leader who gets to make independent decisions because you still have to make the money people happy.
Exactly. And so guess what? So the coach is telling him what plays to run, right? And so as point guard, he gets to decide who gets the ball. And so he gets to decide who gets to, he really does have a hand in who gets to be on what committee, right? Like, is it a
Who
wonder
gets
why
what money?
who gets what money in campaign? Like, my thing is that the biggest egregious thing was AOC not being the ranking member on the oversight committee in 2025. They chose a guy, poor guy,
Garcia?
Connolly, right? Didn't he die?
He
Oh
died.
yes, and then they
died.
chose Garcia.
And then they chose Garcia. So again, as the point guard, as Chris Paul, very stubborn. He gets to decide where the ball goes. And so he gets to make the decision. So he could put the ball in the hands of a more progressive person to kind of do some things, but he's choosing not to. He's running the offense that the coach is telling him to run. And so
No, I mean, I agree. No, I think that's a excellent analogy. I also think I just looked up some more information on him. He literally went to New York University Law School, and when he graduated, he practiced corporate law. So one
Hey!
might actually not be surprised that's what he ended up doing. So if we're looking at the shooting guard, or I guess we can go number 2, see, now it's like, for me,
now,
basketball,
go ahead, Carter.
basketball
Do
now
it.
is
Do it.
Let's do it.
positionless.
Yeah,
And
do
so
it.
I'm
Do
like,
it, Carter.
so I'm like, I think to an extent, I'm wondering, like, if you want someone who's just gonna just toss
A
up.
volume shooter.
That's so Cory Booker. That is so Cory
Right.
Booker.
Yes,
Just
Cory Booker is a volume shooter.
volume shooter. Just like, I'm just gonna just launch it over and over
Okay.
and over, and eventually, you know what? I'm gonna make something.
And that's
So
why I said James Harden is because James Harden's also a volume shooter. But
No.
I feel you.
I have
better comp.
I have a comp for you guys for Cory Booker. So Cory Booker is the Kobe Bryant of Cory Bookers. Cory Booker Cory Booker has got a book that nobody's reading. He's on television shows that nobody's watching him, but he still believes he's the most important person in America right now with the plans. He is a give me the ball and get the hell out of the way. That's what Kobe said right there. That was the play Kobe was running. Give me the ball and get the hell out of the way. So Cory Booker is a volume shooter. He did the 25-hour filibuster. Again, he's got a book nobody's reading. He's got proposals that the consultant said, "Oh yeah, this will work." He's laying the groundwork for a failed presidential run. You know what I'm saying? He is laying.
I mean, do you lay the groundwork for that, or you just go? You know what I'm saying? I don't even know. Like,
Shit,
you need to just,
Anybody who's on Polymarket, I'm telling you, bet the under on Cory winning one state. He will not win one state. Go to the under. Anyway, I'm done.
I'm just saying, but you say he the Kobe Bryant of Cory Booker. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh,
Hey man, I'm telling you, give me the ball and get the hell out the way. And I think so.
While I lead you to the play-in.
Right, lead you to the play-in. Right. We ain't gonna win, but I'm gonna lead you to the play-in. He will not win a state when he runs for president. I'm telling you, he will not
write
win
a book
state.
about it.
Right, and there's the thing. I don't know a soul who's read it. They haven't released how many people have bought it. He's released a program. He's released programs, his proposals to help Americans that literally mean nothing.
Man, you make it. I'm
anyway.
like, this feels disrespectful to Kobe. That's all I'm saying. No, and I feel bad. I'm not even a Lakers fan. I was like, man, I don't know. I mean, I think the analogy works, but man, I don't know. Go ahead.
Some of us, like our 4 listeners, when they heard that, our 4 LA listeners were like, "Oh my god,
I
know."
You do that? They did the meme of the guy taking the headphones off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do want to say, because I've had some interaction. I've never spoken with Cory Booker, but but we love to bag on Cory Booker. I do want to say I've had some interaction with his staff, and Cory Booker actually has some genuinely good people working for him that care about what they do and are really competent at what they do, which makes me all the more angry that like they can't run because they got this corporate stooge up ahead of them that's stopping them from doing actual real things. So
I mean, I think that to me,
let me
this
compliment him and then bag him again at the same time.
this typifies, I think, the issue of the corporate Democrat, right? Like, to me, I don't trust that the people who even work for him, while they may be good people, right? I'm not denying that they're good people. I think that there's a certain kind of person who believes in gradualism for some, right? And unfettered, deregulation for others. Because there's some part of you that thinks the way to grow the economy or the way to grow the way to empower people is to give more power to a few people so they can spread out the wealth. Again, it's a strange version of Reaganomics, but even Reaganomics, I mean, this is all built in this divine right of kings idea of benevolent dictators. I mean, this isn't anything new. And so what I see Cory Booker doing from my perspective is, and even the people who work for him, it's this notion that if I can talk about empowering marginalized people, because I know they should be empowered, but the strategy with which I'm using actually doesn't trust them. It literally doesn't empower them. It doesn't trust them with the resources and things that they need. Rather, it trusts the corporation to distribute the wealth in a particular kind of way.
Yeah.
To me, that just typifies a kind of moral cowardice, right? Let alone the stuff with AIPAC. Let alone like his. I remember when he said he wasn't gonna say anything about New York politics with Zohran Mamdani, right? And then like, and so
Flew into Philly. Flew into
Right.
Philly to campaign against Chris Rabb. Beat him anyway.
I'm like, you just. I mean, that's what I mean. I'm just
Do
like,
these people not think we have a memory at all? Do they not realize the internet exists and their history is on it?
I think they believe that most people don't pay enough attention to know that, right? And I think they're right. And that's our job. That's the job of the actual news commentators, like people to remind folks to break. I mean, that's Trump's whole game. Trump's whole game is I'm either gonna lie and the people know I'm lying and they like the lies, or people aren't paying attention and they forget. Right? It's one of those two things. And so I think people are up on game like that. The thing that's messing them up is people like Zoran, AOC, other folks actually like doing work, passing laws, building infrastructure. You know what I'm saying?
Passing
I'm
laws.
like,
What's
I'm like passing policies. You know what I'm saying? Like doing their job. And
Did
so
you not
to me,
listen to his filibuster?
man.
Oh my God. Hey, I'm gonna get in some good trouble, guys.
All right.
So
I think we've pretty effectively
We have.
So
we
all
have.
right. So can I make a pitch for the small forward or three? Like this is the kind of person. We're not talking about a scorer here. We're talking about an enforcer. We're talking about someone who's gonna play defense.
Like a Dennis Rodman type.
We're looking at like our Dennis Rodman, Dillon Brooks. Like we're looking at the person who can do the dirty work. And this might surprise y'all, but my suggestion is Kirsten Gillibrand. She is the chair of the DSCC, which is the Democratic Senate congressional campaign. She's basically in charge of doling out the money to the Senate candidates. And like she's not a shooter. She's not gonna score points, but like you could always count on her to throw a dirty ass elbow. You brought up you brought up our dear friend Big Z, and I'm reminded of of a radio interview she did before the election, where she falsely accused Zoran of using the phrase "from the river to the sea," and the radio host had to correct her live on air. And instead of being like, "Oh, my bad," she just like doubled down. She just moved the goalposts and doubled down and continued her attack. And it was just like the grossest thing to watch someone get fact checked live and not be able to handle it and get flustered. And it really, in that moment, it really felt like Dillon Brooks.
Man, I mean,
yeah.
No,
maybe she's not a starter. Does Dillon Brooks start?
No,
Does he come
no.
off the bench?
No, he starts.
He starts.
Yeah, he started for Phoenix.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, I think that's a good comp, and I actually do think like she has a lot of power, right? particularly in this APAC-shaped Democratic or APAC-influenced Democratic Party. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she just does. And I think that we would be foolish to I mean, to me, it was close between her or Elissa Slotkin were the 2 I was trying to decide, like, which ones are,
Oh,
like, still kinda doing that same I guess, I don't know, but go ahead.
I've got a different comp for Elise Slotkin. Elise Slotkin is absolutely on my team, but Elise Slotkin is, for me, she's the sixth man. She's the first person off the bench.
First person
Uh,
off the bench. Yeah.
because like when you think about great teams, like they've always got a sixth man that's just a stone cold shooter.
Yeah.
I
Did
mean
because of her CIA background?
I
Oh, yeah.
oh, man. No, I thought she was in Department was it
Stone
CIA? I
cold
thought it was
shooter.
Department of Defense. I was like, because I know it was something she worked for I thought it was the Pentagon. She was like, "It's too deep. That was too deep.
I was
That's
like,
too deep."
I went,
That was too deep.
I went too dry with my delivery.
No, and also, like, oh, man, for some reason, I thought she had, like, a regular desk job in the Department of Defense. I know she actually had, like, a gun. I know
Oh
she was
no,
out there, like
she wasn't out there with a gun, but she was
okay.
she was a field operative, like
Oh, okay.
with the CIA, like she was deployed
Oh,
in the
yeah.
Middle East.
Oh,
Like
no,
I'm
if she
not
was
saying
out there,
like
man, if it was they had me out there, they better give me a gun. I know what. I'm like, I hope she was out there with a gun. I'm like,
Guys.
hey, I'm just saying, like, hey, you gonna put me out there, you best give me some heat. I'm like,
Elise
'cause-
Slotkin is a nice lady in mom jeans and kedge. She has not been responsible for any death in her life.
oh my
Yeah.
god. So, all right, I
Sure.
do want to say it is Alyssa. It is because I'm looking at it right now. I
Is it
thought it was
Alyssa?
Alyssa. Yeah. Because she's from Michigan, and so like this is
Yeah.
where
Is
like
her
I
name
From
though?
had
Michigan.
My
yeah,
bad.
she's from
My bad.
Michigan. It's all right. I mean, I say it's all right because like she is the kind of man, like these are the women that my wife went to high school with, right? Like that's all. So like I know, like I know this white woman. Like I know them. Like I know. I'm like I'm like I know this mom. I know where they are. I know they don't want to. Like they will say stuff about people behind their backs because they don't want you to know. They're like, oh well, or they will try to find a way to say the critique in a complimentary way, right? You know what I'm saying? That make you feel bad. I mean, that's the kind of vibe she gives me. I think for me, again, my strongest recall of her is the way she just got grilled on her positions with respect to what's happening in Gaza and also with respect to her issues on when we had the shutdown. And they're just like inability to actually articulate like a coherent vision, right? Either A, to be able to describe what's actually happening in Gaza, but also with respect to healthcare, like just a fundamental misunderstanding of the actual problem and not really defending people's access or people's rights to good quality care. And like, so because Michigan is still a pretty fairly poor state, you have a lot of people who are on like state aid and state health care. And if you're not actually trying to support that actually getting rolled out to help people, like I just, it frustrates me. So I agree. I think maybe let me toss it out to y'all. What I thought was happening initially was that Chuck Schumer was trying to set her up to be the next like Senate Majority
Oh
Leader
God,
if he steps
no.
down. That's what I
Please.
thought. I mean, maybe
No.
I'm wrong, but I thought he was trying to
No.
set her up. You don't think? Okay, I thought he was trying to set her up
Shats.
to do that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Brian Schatz out of Hawaii,
The
and
Senate Democrats are going to shats their pants.
let's hope not.
Well, I said
But
Schumer. I said I thought she was Schumer's pick. That doesn't mean what's going to happen. But that was because he was putting her out there on all this, like especially when all this stuff started happening with guys. Like that's when she really started being. So I thought he was. Maybe he's not actually
I mean,
responsible for near as much stuff that's happening over there. I don't know.
I think generally speaking, you're right. Chuck Schumer is trying to make Elissa Slotkin happen. Man, I swear, hey, what do you
Elise,
know?
you wanted to keep calling
Whatever.
her Elise. I know it's okay.
He wants to. They're trying to make her happen. Whether that be, I don't think it's to be majority leader, but whether it be to like put her in the pipeline or because she thinks she's going to run for president. I don't know what it is, but they're absolutely trying to make
Well,
Elissa Slotkin happen.
watch the committees. Watch the committees that they put her on. I mean, Barack Obama, when he came to the Senate, he knew that he at some point, I don't know if he knew that he was going to run for president when he won the Senate, but I think he wanted to be on a serious, in his mind, a serious committee. And so, what were the things that could be the biggest liability for him, which was foreign policy, right? So, what was he on? The Foreign Relations Committee, and learning from Republican warmongers and Iraq War voters, Dick Lugar. who ended up becoming, Chuck Hagel, who ended up becoming, I think, defense secretary at one point, or anyway. So one thing I will say about Elise
Alyssa,
Slotkin,
Alyssa.
Elissa Slotkin, whatever.
I
See,
did it.
David is infiltrated my mind. Elissa Slotkin and Kirsten Gillibrand. So those are what you call the interchangeables, right? So they are interchangeable in terms of like you don't have to change the offense or the defense whenever they come in. And they're both Dillon Brooks. They're both antagonists, right? So like Elissa Slotkin she said that the middle of the country, that the people on the coast can learn something from the middle of the country, because that's, the middle of the country is basically real America. What they're saying is that we are out of touch liberals. Now, she has not, I don't know if she spent enough time in Los Angeles that we have, because when I go to my local store, when I used to go to this KFC near my house, those young people were dealing with affordability issues. They were not living where they worked. So all this stuff about how the coast and the people on the coast have no idea what it is to be like, real America and what real problems are. Give me a fucking break. Excuse my language. But like, that's the type of antagonism. That's the same shit Pete Buttigieg did in 2020. These kind of coastal elites. I know a couple of elites, but the majority of people I know are just getting by. So what the fuck are you guys talking about?
Man,
So
I know elites, and they ain't depend on the coast. It depends on how much family money they got. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
You try to listen. You try to tell me you ever been to Fort Worth, Texas? You try to tell me that's real America?
Exactly.
Come on,
man.
Have you not seen Landman? I mean, shit. Billy Bob on that fucking. Excuse my language, but I'm just
you mad? That's what it is. You mad?
Because the thing is, we see people every day who are struggling and trying to do the very best they can, and to be kind of not even thought of out here as if their problems don't matter.
I want to say, specifically as an Angelino and as a Californian, it's specifically infuriating to hear corporate Democrats lecture us about how we're out of touch, when we can't, again, we barely can afford to stay in the places that we live right now. We can barely afford to keep up with the cost of living, like screw roses. Like, we're just trying to focus on the bread here in Los Angeles. And there aren't even any Republicans that have any fucking power out here. There are like, in the whole city of Los Angeles, including the county, there's like 3 elected Republicans. So it's Democrats that have been holding us the fuck down and not helping us actually fucking live a decent working life. And so when I'm lectured by them about, if you just shut up and listen to us, your life would be better. It's like, no, I live in a city that has been controlled by nothing but corporate Democrats. We could do a local edition and it would work. It would work the fucking same.
We could do a statewide edition on corporate. Dave, that's exactly it, Dave. You was getting right there. I'm like, that's it. Like, we are the Mecca of corporate Democrats, right? That's what happened. Like,
I've been working.
We got a guy running for governor who's being bankrolled by fossil fuels. Javier Becerra, look, hey, bro, I ain't trying to. Another one being bankrolled
by with the tech. You know what I'm saying? Another one being bankrolled by
you got
tech.
Matt Mohan. Right.
I think they finally pulled out. They were like, we finished with you.
Yeah, but again, it's like I think, and Javi was in the tryouts, but he didn't get enough votes. But again, it's like we are this idea that we've had Democrats run these municipalities. No, we've had people who are aligned with business interests. Yeah. And so, and by the way, before we go on to the next position, I highly encourage all of our listeners to go to the fec.com or .org, or excuse me, .gov. And so where you can actually go look at the candidates. I'm looking at it right here, and I can see all of the money and all the donations that were given. And do yourself an extra favor. When you see like, what is the Gillibrand Victory Fund? And it's like, why does it have like $1.1 million? Like, dig into that a little bit, and you can actually see all the donations, and then you can see all of the CEOs and everybody else who donated under this umbrella of Victory Fund. But anyway, that, like, if you really care about getting money out of politics, go to FEC, the Federal Election Commission's website, and see who's funding your candidates. Anyway, that's
how do you feel
bit for that.
Go ahead, David.
How do you feel? How do you feel about Steny Hoyer as our center?
I thought, all right, let me ask one question. Then I want to go back to this because I think this.
Yeah.
I wanted to tease this out just a little bit more, and I only got like
Please,
10 minutes
please,
left.
please,
But well,
please.
in terms of because I think this is why um people like Pete Buttigieg and other folks think we have quote unquote close to the elites is because they look at places like California, New York, and we have a too broad of understanding of Democrat, which is why I love the episode that we're doing right now to narrow it down. Is actually we live under a particular kind of corporate Democrat stranglehold, and it has um, given us again an illusion of a particular kind of freedom that they're arguing for that they really don't want us to have because they're arguing for corporations. I wonder, and now we have to keep this brief, if you think that you can trace the rise of the corporate Democrat in California, especially to Reagan being governor. Right? If they embrace the kind of Reaganomics that they try to make sound a little bit more liberal, that they could speak to both sides because you can play both sides. I'm curious as your thoughts. Now, maybe that's a whole separate episode because maybe you need to do a California corporate Democrat episode because I'm just like, you know what? Now y'all got me thinking. Now I'm just like, man, this is why I don't know. Anyway, that's what came to my mind. Maybe that's a slight tangent, but at least want to toss it out there before I forget because you know I got ADHD and I ain't gonna remember it in like 10 minutes. So
I think the flood of I think the flood of corporate money definitely Reagan opened that up because again, we're talking about a transaction, right? So he'll be like, all right, well, we'll lower the corporate tax rate in the state, or we'll do things that are very business friendly, and then they will be like, okay, well, we'll not only align with you, but we'll align with people in the California State House and the Senate, and their and the delegates, House of Delegates there, and that is how you're going to get this agenda passed. Because it's not just enough about me giving you money. It's about, okay, we're going to we're going to build you a team, right, in your state government so that you can enact the policies that we care about. I think it kind of went on steroids with Reagan, but I think it was always there. As Henry Mantel told us, remember, you have these interest groups who redlined Los Angeles. And that was before Reagan. So I think it's always been there. I think Reagan accelerates that.
I have this theory I'm working on that California actually is not progressive at all, because uh, when I look at California and specifically Los Angeles elections where progressives have won, progressive candidates have beaten incumbents, it's almost always because the candidate is blatantly corrupt or racist. Nithya
Hello.
Raman is the only candidate, the only genuinely progressive candidate, insurgent candidate that I saw just beat an incumbent without that incumbent being like completely kneecapped by a gross scandal. So I would have to do some more research, Carter, but that is your question prompted my theory.
yeah,
All
no,
right,
I think this is another episode on corruption. I mean, you do so. I love it. But let's get
I
to the
love it.
center. Who are
Let's
you
go.
saying
Yeah,
that? Yeah,
I was proposing Steny Hoyer because I mean mostly because like he's kind of is kind of like he feel because he's been around so long he kind of feels at the center of it to me. Like he's not your top scorer, but he's been there forever, and like they like to move the ball through the post.
Stenny's got moves. You know, Stenny is he's a
Got that
center
dream
that
shake.
no. So this is the thing. He can do a dream shake. He can do the dream shake. But the thing is, Stenny, you're not gonna center your offense around him, but he's an asset.
Yeah,
He's an asset to have at center. So he's not a Jokic or a Giannis. He's more like Zubac. You know,
Zubac.
he's a very valuable center who's been around the league, who can play really well and can defend.
Jonas Valanciunas.
Valanciunas, I love JV. Yeah, I mean, the guy can throw up some points, but you're not going to center your offense around him. You can center your offense around him during spurts. But so Steny is on the Labor and HHS committee in the House. Now, if you just if you look at the FEC filings, what you'll see an amalgamation of a lot of different corporations, but you also see, guess what, the healthcare industry show up and give some donations to the city.
Surprise.
Are we surprised, folks? Are we surprised? The sugarcane industry has donated to him as well. Like the purview of these committees, yeah, they're gonna get a lot of attention. Like if you're on these committees, you're gonna get a lot of attention from these lobbies. So anyway, shout out to Steny Hoyer, who just he's getting money from everybody. Home Depot's got a pack that they put money in for him. It's just great. I don't even
Jesus.
know what that has to do with the committees he's on, but he's raking the money in.
Home Depot, famously a massive Trump supporter. They're all on the same team, and
Yeah.
we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex, who you got? Who you got? We got a stretch 4 on the corporate Dem All Stars.
All right, so and this is where I think the real stretch 4 is Mark Warner.
Yeah.
Mark Warner in the Senate is very adaptable. He, and remember, he is a former entrepreneur, kind of millionaire. Started his own business, big money guy. And he rakes in a ton of money from the corporate business community. Now, remember, during the shutdown and the ICE, now his buddy Tim Kaine threw a little, it was his turn to lay in front of the tracks. But these guys, you know what I'm saying? But they take turns to give cover for everyone else.
Yep.
And so when you're thinking about these candidates, to our listeners, think about the vote, not just the votes that they've taken, but what they've said along with those votes. Because that will tell you, oh, okay, if you're like, well, you know what, let's strengthen Obamacare, and they're not talking about single payer, go to the FEC's website and see how many people in the health insurance and healthcare industry has lobbied to this member. But anyway, Mark Warner.
Do you remember when Dwight Howard took the Orlando Magic to the finals?
I do.
Do you remember
I do.
Rashad Lewis?
Rashad Lewis.
Yeah.
Man, he can shoot. He can shoot, man.
That's my Mark Warner comp.
This is what, 6'9", 6'10", and he can just shoot.
Mm-hmm. Quiet.
Yeah.
No one remembers him, but that team isn't getting where they were without him.
I mean, I remember
agree.
because they beat my team.
We
So
beat a
like,
team, yeah. They beat the Pistons.
I was like, no, I remember. I remember. So yeah.
Thank you for representing those sports fans.
I'm like, no, I remember. But no, I think that's a good comp. I mean, man, just someone who like you have to actually. So people who watch the game know him. Right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, but people who who are kind of like casual observers won't necessarily remember. No, I think that's a great comp. It's a great comp.
Shout out to our listeners that have been listening to the beginning. Mark Warner is the Bull Connor of corporate Democrats.
Oh my God.
You gotta go back and listen to episode 2 to understand that one.
Oof.
And listen,
Well, that has some stank on it, man. Good God. Whew. Okay. I ain't want to do Mark like that, but man.
Listen, Mark, it's not. It's really just a funny joke. Just go listen to the episode, and you'll get it. And listen, if you're listening to this whole episode and you're like, oh my God, here are all the corporate Dems that we really don't like and isn't leading us in the right direction, and you're wondering what the flip side of that coin is, go back and listen to our fantasy congressional leadership draft, and you'll see the people that we draft to be on our leadership team. Those are the people that that if we were to put together a non-corporate progressive all-star team, those are the people that we would be that you would see having on there.
Yeah. Alex, what was the name of that website again? You want to send people to? Just because I do think this is. So I was looking at Open Secrets, which is more. It's not specifically about. It tracks money, but in a slightly different way. I was trying to see what particular lobbyists like.
They're both great resources.
Yeah, they are. So I was looking at industries and who's like shaping people's stuff like that. But you had a different one. So what was the other one?
Go to fec.gov.
Okay.
If you go to fec.gov and then you're able to put in the candidate's name, you're going to see browse receipts. So once you do browse receipts, as I'm doing right now, you can then see all of and you can filter. So I usually go from highest amount to lowest amount because I want to see, and it's usually the highest amount of these victory funds. But what you can do is you can go inside of the victory funds and then see all the individual donations. And you can click on the donations. There's a plus sign on the side. You click on that donation, and then you can see the person, and they're like, oh, this is a CEO of a pharmaceutical company, and they're giving money to a person who's on an HHS committee. Okay.
Shocker.
So I think the FEC does a really good job. You can really dig in the weeds. I spent a couple of hours over the last few days just kind of going through all of the, I'm still on Steny Hoyer, and I'm like, oh yeah, Honeywell. Yeah, great corporation. Honeywell International Political Committee gave them some money. It's anyway, so it's American Dental Association. I mean, like,
Yeah. Nah,
All
don't
right,
get me.
so
anyway,
real
yeah.
real quick, we've got we've got let's wrap up. I'm gonna go over our starting five, and then I want us to each hit a bench player so we can really fill out the roster.
Yeah.
So we got running the point guard, our number one, Hakeem Jefferies, Cory Booker, volume shooter. We got
Give me the ball, get the hell out of the way.
Kirsten Cinema at our small forward playing defense, Mark Werner, our stretch four, and we got Steny Hoyer underneath the basket as our center, and we've got Elissa Slotkin as our sixth man, being a straight shooter. Real quick, so my person I want to listen. Sometimes you're playing DeAndre Drummond. Sometimes you're playing
Oh,
Shaq.
God.
And sometimes you just need to bring someone into the game that you are like that has no purpose. They're not going to score. They're not even there. They can't even really play defense. Their sole purpose is to come on the floor and hack somebody. And for me, the person that bringing in to do that is John Fetterman.
John Fetterman. Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
everybody. Like that's like I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, yeah.
He
John Fetterman. Yeah.
He got 5 personal fouls that he could get, and you
Right,
can count
right.
on him to go on there and just start hacking away.
Hey, man, that dude. Hey, you use up all your fouls. That is what he is there for. I'm gonna hurt the best player on the other team.
Yeah. No,
Who's coming off the bench for you, Carter?
man, I was gonna take Fetterman because for me, like,
Yeah.
I was like, in part because like, I think he just you talk about someone who can't just such like a flip in terms of what people might thought he might be. And for me, like, so again, comp, and which sounds bad, kind of, but not really. To me, Fetterman is like Bill Laimbeer. I mean, like, I'm like, I used to, like, I mean, I'm saying, not only is he exactly what you said in terms of coming in and foul somebody, but like Bill Laimbeer was like smart and like, but he came from a really educated background, but he kind of seemed like he could get along with his brothers okay. And so you kind of like, I don't really know. But then the more you read about him and he keeps talking, you're like, all right, you need to be quiet. All right, just let it go, let it go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the more you find out about him, you're like, no, 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 no. So, so for me, like that was a person I was gonna pick. Honestly, I don't. I just have to. I'm gonna break the rules because I'm neurodivergent. That's what I do.
Love it.
All 8 of those Democrats who ended up like just quitting over the shutdown, like literally just like all the senators that were like, I'm out because this is hard on the American people. I'm like, you know what's hard on American people? Not having no goddamn health care. That's what's harder. That's what's actually harder. Not actually having
Yeah.
health care because you forced a vote on something you knew they weren't going to pass. Like for me, that kind of corporate, when you look at, and that's why I did the industries because each of them have large giving from healthcare industries. So that's Jean Shaheen, Maggie Hassan, Catherine Cortez Masto, Jackie Rosen, Dick Durbin, John Fetterman, Tim Kaine, Angus King. So I'm like, I know I'm supposed to pick one, but I'm like, you know what? I at least gotta say that because to me, that's like that's a quintessential corporate dim. Quintessential corporate dim. I'm like, yeah. Anyway, all right.
I feel bad about this because I like her. Um, and I mean, I really do. She was in Selma for the uh voting march that they had earlier in the
Yeah.
month. She takes some really good votes and she cares quite a bit about people, particularly black people's enfranchisement. But she's also one of the members of Congress who takes the most corporate money of any, I think, of anyone that
Anyone.
isn't named Hakeem Jefferies, which is
Yeah.
Terri Sewell in 7th Congressional District of Alabama. Um, I
Sweet
want
home.
the black women who's watching this to know that I'm not shitting on a black woman. Like there are because I think in our political discourse, there is a sensitivity that's happening right now with the ways in which black women are treated, particularly in political spaces. There's inconsistency with how they're being judged or graded, and people hold them to a different standard than they hold white male politicians or even black male politicians. But this, again, this is about, and I think this is more going to be an insular conversation between black folks about how we want to do representation and who we want to represent us. Do we want more corporate aligned people or do we want more progressive people who are going to kind of buck that trend? And again, she's taken some really great votes, but one of the things that she has taken is a shit ton of money from a million different corporations. She also sits on the very, very powerful Ways and Means Committee in the House of Representatives, which deals with tax policy. So if if you want somebody to raise taxes on the wealthy and big corporations, do you really want that person to receive all of that money? And this is, again, this is a very sensitive topic, and I didn't want to put her name there just because, again, I know what's happening right now, particularly with Black women politicians. But I think also I want to bring this to light so that at least within Black spaces we can talk about representation and that it's a little bit more nuanced. And I know this is kind of not where we were maybe going, but I think that's really, really important because she's taken some really good votes. But she's also taken some votes where you're like, she wants
Well,
to bolster the Affordable Care Act, but again, that's not. We all know that that's not the answer. The answer is going to be to have the government's going to have expand Medicare to other people like us. Like that's the answer.
I love that you're asking for consistency across the board. It's never going to happen, but it's what we should be asking for. And I think that it's doubly bad for Black women, but it does happen to women all over the place. And this is a brown woman, so it's probably doubly bad for her. But it's like watching the way Nithya Raman is treated for having the exact same position on policing as Zohran Mamdani is also really telling to me among the progressives. But one of the things that I would want to ask specifically Black Congress people who are in power within the party structure is I love that y'all are going to Selma and talking about Black voting rights. It needs to be centered, but it really stops me in my tracks when y'all talk about that. But when Debbie Wasserman Schultz decides to carpetbag into a majority Black district going against Black candidates, the same people who were talking about Black people's voting rights and Black people's representation being stripped away are now silent. And yeah, so like that would be the question I'd ask is why does your advocacy stop once you have something to
Power.
lose?
Yeah,
Power.
because you're not being morally consistent, like you just said, right? And so I know, and I definitely got to wrap up, but I need to, Alex. I love what you said because the key here is, and it's what we have been wrestling about, or with as Black people in America since we were forcibly brought here. It is respectability politics, and to what extent are we always performing our humanness, right? To be seen as not even equal, but just to be accepted. And just like, I think the part of me, it is the smaller part, because the bigger part of me is frustrated with Black people, especially who don't know that and actually resist that narrative and actually call it out. But as a smaller part of me is always going to be um, sensitive to that because it's like exhausting. Like it is exhausting to constantly have to work harder to be better to get not as much credit, right? That's my life. That's literally what
Yeah.
it is. I work harder to be better to get not as much credit in so many areas. And it's exhausting, like literally exhausting. And so I get it. And so there's a part of me that wishes she knew that and that somebody talked to her about that, was honest with her. At the same time, sometimes you buy into the own anti-blackness and you can end up blaming people's shortcomings on narratives that if you did some further unpacking and unlearning, you could see we're really implanted there to uphold a particular kind of hierarchy that's not helping anyone because it's totally tied to capitalism. And so yeah, no, Alex, I love that. And I'm looking forward to the conversations that we're gonna have this summer. We can get into some more like, especially once the primary season's over, we can get into some of these deeper issues. Because I think we need, honestly, I think we need to talk about them. So, anywho,
Man, Alex, unless you got something to finish it up with, I really appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Hey, follow the money because that's what drives these people. So when you're wondering, hey, why is someone doing this? Why is this politician that I like taking these terrible votes? Check out fpc.gov. See if you can't find a $sign reason. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll catch you next time.
Later.